All right, I thought it'd be fun to give my Mini Draco here a makeover like I did with my Micro Draco in an earlier video. This is the Romanian Mini Draco imported by Century Arms International. It's a great performing gun with a very impressive round. The problem is, and actually I delayed in buying one years ago because I didn't like the looks of this wooden handguard. You see it hanging on the wall there at the gun store, and you think, well, that looks interesting. And then you consider the handguard, and well, at least for me anyways, I started thinking, well, I don't really want to buy that because I don't like the handguard. So it's the looks that's the problem. It functions great, feels good in the hand, and I just didn't like the way it looks. So let's go through that. We'll remove our magazine. I tend to prefer metallic magazines. This particular one is a PMag. And I have not fired this gun yet, so, which is a kind of a problem. I have lots of guns I haven't fired yet. This little thing here is for it's rubber covering here, I guess, for shipping. Probably should take it off before you fire it. It would probably go flying off into the weeds and you may not be able to find it anymore. So what I'm going to do is we're going to remove this wooden handguard here, and what I want to do is install this AK 5-inch metallic handguard from SLR Rifle Works. So SLR Rifle Works offers a variety of different handguards for all kinds of sizes of AKs, and even for the Mini Draco, they have several offerings. I used their one of their handguards for my Micro Draco, which we have right here, and I really liked how that turned out. I like the looks of it and the feel of it, so I decided to use this one or this style of handguard again for my Mini Draco. There are other handguards out there. I kind of like this one for the smaller Dracos because I didn't want to, make my Micro Draco bigger, and I don't want to make the Mini Draco bigger. So to remove this handguard, there's a screw right here. We can just use a flathead screwdriver and take that out. So we'll run that screw out. It's pretty easy to do. Run that out. All right. Put that aside. Now our handguard, to remove it, it's got to move straight. You got to move it straight forward. This part of the wood is narrower than the barrel down here, so I can't remove the handguard by pulling it down this way. I have to go straight out this way. So let's see if we can get that done. Kind of wiggle on it. And there it goes. So you can see how this is narrower here. So same thing when you go to put it back on, I won't be able to insert this square dowel thing in here and then rotate it up this way. That won't work because this part of the handguard is narrower than the barrel. So you have to slide it back. Whoops. Slide it back this way. All right. As you can see, there's a bunch of sawdust here. So apparently they route these out in the factory and maybe just shake them off and stick them on. So we'll be cleaning that up. When I get to that point, which will be here in a minute, I won't bore you with that process. I'll turn the camera off and I'll clean that out. I have a thread protector here, as you can see, which was welded on here. Apparently that's how they're part of the deal, being able to import these. Now this particular one, the location it was welded, and the weld didn't look like it was a particularly hot weld. It didn't melt the metal as much as another gun I had, my M92. So in this case I was able to just get a hacksaw, and I cut the weld and I was able to take this off, and then I blued there where where the hacksaw went through the weld, and so it actually looks pretty good. It came with the detent pen, so that allows me to take this off like that. See, it's a reverse thread. I forget a lot of times that the thread is reversed. And then there are a variety of accessories you could put on there. For example, this little muzzle brake thing. This is a Tapco piece, and of course that will make the Mini Draco even longer. So you may not want that, but for me it's just for fun. I don't really need these things, but what I may end up doing though in the future is picking up one of these that's came on my my Micro Draco. Of course it's a little bit longer than just the thread protector, but it's not so much longer that it makes the gun super big. So I may go with something similar to this on here, mostly because I like the way it looks. Like I say, I don't really need these devices. So for me, just a amateur enthusiast who likes to go out shooting, it's just for fun. Whoops, I put that on backwards. Let's turn that around. Glad I caught myself. Should always have either a device on here or have your thread protector in place, because it's easy to damage these threads, and then you'll be trying to fix them up with a threader. So in order for us to go ahead and install our SLR metallic handguard, this is the 5-inch one from SLR Rifle Works, I'm first going to clean this off of here. And like I said, I won't bore you with that. I'll just get my little rag and I'll clean this off, and then we will continue. Alright, I cleaned most of that off just with a paper towel. So what we need to do in order to install our handguard, as you can see, it's held on by this this little clamp-like setup here with these two bolts here. I'm not able to rotate this through between the barrel and the gas tube because the gap here is smaller than the gap on the sides of this little clamp here. So what that means is we need to take this gas tube off. All right. The first step to taking the gas tube off will be to remove the bolt. The reason we need to do that is because there's a piece of the bolt that comes right up here through the gas tube, and the gas tube won't be able to come off with that in the middle because it won't be able to move. So let's go ahead and do that. To remove the bolt, the first thing I do is push this release right here. See if we can get that done. There we go. So we'll slide our cover off. And then here we have our recoil spring and this block here. I originally was thinking that it was only the Micro Draco that had this block, but I see here my Mini Draco does as well. To put this back on, you have to make sure the front of this cover goes under this lip right here. See if you can see that. And you have to make sure it stays there as you push this down. When you go to push it down over this, spring here, where the release is, it tends to want to push this cover back, and then you're not underneath this little lip anymore, and then it'll move like that. And the back of this cover needs to be in this groove right here, not behind this lip, on the back edge of the receiver, but right in there. So we'll touch on that again when we get there. To remove the recoil spring, just press it forward so it comes out of this slot right here, out of this slot. There's a little notch here in this block that allows this release thing to move forward enough that you can slide it up and out. We'll take our block out. Now we're able to just slide our bolt back. In this case, my hammer is already down, but if it wasn't, let's say that it's up. All right. In order to slide this bolt back, we're going to need to push this down. And you can do that by hand. Just go ahead and press it down all the way, and it'll stay there. Now the bolt will just slide out. Okay. All the way back. And out it comes. So we'll set that aside. There we go. So now that we have removed our bolt there, the next thing we need to do is release the gas tube so the gas tube can move up like this, like that, and then come out. And this is the release lever. How it works is when this lever's down, I don't know if you can see that, when this lever's down, it doesn't allow the gas tube here to move up. It locks it in place. So what we need to do is push this up. I may not be able to push it up by hand. Yeah, see, don't think so. So I got myself a little piece of something soft. In this case, it's a wooden handle to a brush. And I'm going to just put this underneath this lever right here. See if I can do this. I haven't tried this before. This is my first time. In fact, all this is unscripted and my first time through. I'm just a guy with an old iPhone trying to have a little bit of a good time making some videos, hopefully, helping somebody out. It's my kids who kept encouraging me to do videos. They saw me working on things and they said, well, why don't you make a video? And I said, well, I don't want to do that. They talked me into it. So let's tap on this and see if we can rotate that lever up. See, if I use something non-metallic, I can move that lever up and I won't be damaging the finish. Of course, if you did damage the finish, you can just, I need to move it up more. You could just glue it. But try to be nice to our guns. Of course, AKs are kind of crude pieces of equipment. Anyways, see this flat side there? If I have this in this orientation right here, now my gas tube can rotate past that thing. Oops. I'll do that over again so I don't think I had piece in view of the camera. I just rotate this up. See that? Just keep going up. And out it comes. You know, SLR Rifle Works, they make a railed gas tube, which is cool. And who knows, I might end up getting one of those someday. That would allow you to put something up here on top of your gas tube right here if you wanted to. So I didn't get one of those, but every time I look at them, I'm thinking it should be fun. I don't think I really need that, but it would be fun. All right, so now that we have our gas tube out of the way, that allows us to put our SLR Rifle Works metallic handguard in position here. So the first thing we're going to need to do is remove these two little bolts. They're little hex bolts. Very good. Now that we've removed those, we can take this little clamp thing out of the way. So how this works is the barrel goes right in here, and this just kind of squeezes on the barrel. So between that and this thing here, which is the same dimensions as the carved out little rectangular dowel on the handguard, goes in the front of the receiver. So let's see how that goes. Okay, it's in. Now I noticed on this little clamp thing here, there's a little notch. I'm not sure. I'm thinking maybe the notch is supposed to go to the back. It might have. Yeah, it probably has something to do with clearance for your back edge of your gas tube right there. So that's how I'm going to position it, see if that works. SLR Rifle Works recommends some Loctite here. So usually we put Loctite right on the threads of our screw, but in this case I don't really want to do that because I just don't want to make a mess if I have Loctite on my screw, as I put it down in this hole, smearing Loctite all over the my pieces here. So what I've decided to do was get something like this. This is a Q-tip where I broke one side off, and put some Loctite on here, and then come here and just kind of go around like that and get on my threads. Now be careful. One thing maybe you didn't think about, go over it real quick. Get a piece of paper. I drew this little diagram here a second ago. You don't want to fill this whole threaded hole up here with Loctite, because if you think about it, if I have this thing full of Loctite, let's say it's full of Loctite up to there, I go to put, let's say we were really getting into it, we just fill the whole thing up with Loctite. The problem with that is when you go to thread your bolt in, which is represented by this thing here, as it goes down, Loctite, being a liquid, is not compressible. So some of it would be trying to escape up here between the threads, but it may mean that you won't be able to tighten it all the way. It also might mean that if you were to crank it hard enough that you could crack your piece. So don't allow the Loctite to pull down in here, because as this bolt goes in, you'll be creating so much hydraulic pressure that you're going to have probably some trouble. So we're just going to put some Loctite on our edge, your little Q-tip thing here, and carefully go around the sides of the threads there. I'm going through all this trouble because I was afraid to get some Loctite around, you know, my little clamp there. Just kind of make a mess. So I'm moving around circles, trying to spread it evenly because you want your Loctite to be evenly spread around there. All right. So I put some Loctite on my threads, and I was careful not to fill this hole all the way up with Loctite to avoid that hydraulic pressure issue that you don't want to have. Because you know, you could break this or you won't be able to tighten it. So this just slides on like that. And then we'll put our little clamp in place. Like I said, I'm thinking this notch should go towards the back. All right, put our screws in, or our mini bolts. I guess they aren't really screws. These little bolts here. Put those in. And run those down. Then we're going to need a hex wrench to tighten them up. Oh, okay, hang on. I had the hex wrench out I wanted to use. My boy put it back. He's cleaning up for me. I think it was this one. Let's check. This is a 1/8. Yeah, I don't know what that equates to in metric sizes, but anyways, maybe they just use a standard size here. So what I do is I run these two down. I haven't tightened them yet. I just ran them down to where they touch. Now I'm assuming that my piece or the pieces have shifted into you know, their correct orientation, and I give them another little tweak, and now finally we're going to go ahead and tighten them up. SLR Rifle Works recommended 35. What did they say? Here's my direction card. 35 inch-pounds. There you go, sorry. 35 inch-pounds. Which isn't very much. And if you think about it, it can't be too tight because you don't want, you know, a bunch of pressure squeezing on your barrel. That's not going to work. Alrighty. So just sort of snug, hand tight there. Don't get too carried away. And we can see that it doesn't move at all. So between the rectangular piece that was inserted here in the front of the receiver and this little clamp thing here squeezing it onto the barrel, this feels pretty solid. Now we'll see if I've got this notch in the right place. Put our gas tube back in. It should go in like that. So we need to take it out the same way we put it in. Okay, so if you remember, this side here, see this thing, how it turns in the, you can see the little flat side there. We got to have that straight up and down so that this is able to slide past there. So, and then your gas tube, let's see if we can do this, needs to, this front end of the gas tube needs to slide all the way down so that, so as this back end goes down, it just rotates into place like that. So I can see it probably doesn't matter which way that notch goes because the back edge of the gas tube is, you know, kind of far away from there, so probably doesn't matter. Now we're going to rotate our release or locking lever back down. See this little round area here that they machined out of there? There's a little bump on the back side here of this locking lever, and as it comes down, it pushes on this, and then on this part of the gas tube here, or this block, I guess they call it. And when it gets here, it's kind of, since there's some force on it, it kind of springs down in this little depression. That locks it into place. All right, so let's see if we can do that. I'll get my Yep, it's going down pretty easily. This was just this little brush with a wooden handle was just the first thing I found. You know, it doesn't really matter what you use. I'm going to use a rubber mallet on this. Perfect. One little tap with the rubber mallet and down it went. Alrighty. So now we have our gas tube back into position. We have our handguard in place. The next thing I want to do is I bought this little hand stop. These are really important. You don't want your hand anywhere near the barrel up here. So how the hand stop works is there's a little screw here, and then this little machined piece here. Notice it's got this little lip on this side that goes forward. Well, this is key mod, I think they call it. And there's also M-lock. I don't really have a preference. They both work great as far as I can tell. But I guess it just depends on, you know, if you want to buy something that's offered in key mod, you know, go for it. If it's M-lock, go for it. It doesn't matter. SLR Rifleworks, however, offers this in both styles, so you can have whichever one you want. So let's put our hand stop in here and slide it forward. All right, till it locks in there. And then this is a star. That's what I call them anyways. So they notice the size was the, it should be at the T20. So let's see if we can tighten this. There it goes. So it's tight. Now if I have any trouble, you know, with this coming loose, it'll be a pretty simple matter. Just put a little dab of Loctite on there. But for now, I don't have any Loctite. Alrighty. So there you go. We can put that in place. Got my hand stop here. This is a lot sleeker, better looking application than the original wooden piece. So, like say, you know, a few years ago, I was interested in buying one of these, but I didn't buy one right away because I kept thinking I don't like the looks of that wooden, you know, piece up there in front. Then I realized, oh, okay, well I can just change that. So there we go. We've got our hand stop here, so now we're going to be safe holding on to that. With the rails here, I can put, you know, light or a laser. If you wanted a red dot, for example, you'd want to pick up the railed gas tube. And then you could put something up. I'm about to knock my camera over. Put something up here if you like. On my Micro Draco, you know, I did go ahead and put a light on there. This is a True Glow. It's not an expensive piece, but so far, you know, I'm liking how it looks. I like how it mounted. I like how it works. So I haven't put it to the test, you know, firing it yet, but I'm not expecting any problems. So now you can use a laser bore sight so that this can match, you know, your bore sight of your barrel just by adjusting it. So, which I did do to this one. Maybe someday I'll make a little video that talks about doing that. Got some, I've done a few of them. They're generally not very hard, so maybe we'll do that someday. All right, back to the Mini Draco. Okay, so now, got all that done. We're going to put our bolt back in, our block, our recoil spring, and put our cover back on. Of course, before I fire this, I'm going to have to take it apart and make sure it's clean and lubricate it. Let's push our bolt in. Oops, I'm out of view of the camera. So there's our bolt. Let's kind of push that forward. The reason we need to bump it a little bit is because we're getting past the spring of tension of our hammer there. So that's pretty easy. Then we'll return our block back into position. Good deal. Put our recoil spring back in. So we just need to press this. Here we go. Press this, compress the spring enough so that this release mechanism here can get in front of this little slot, because these little raised edges here on the side, right there, they go under these little lips right here. So that's actually pretty easy. Let's push that forward and down and back. That's in place. Now we're going to put our cover back on. So remember, the cover has this little lip right here on the front of the gas block below the sight. The front of the cover's got to go under that. See how it's under there? And it doesn't want to stay under there, so if I don't hold it there, when I go to push this down, the spring tension of this little release lever here will tend to push this cover back. It won't be under the lip, and the back of the cover will be on the back of the receiver instead of, in front of this little lip here. So let's see if we can get that done. Hold that there and try not to let it move backwards as we push it down. See how it's wanting to come out of that little lip there already. So hold it there. It's not that tough. Just got to make sure it stays down there. Yeah, talking about how we got to make sure it stays down there, and I didn't get it down there. Alrighty, so let's take this off. Make sure our front of our cover there stays forward. Alright, I'll try not to let it go. There we go. So, not really hard. You just gotta make sure it stays forward under that lip as you're pushing this down. So this has got a little slant to it. So as it goes down, it's wanting to push the cover back behind the back of the receiver, but you want it right there. All right. So here we have the Mini Draco with the SLR Rifle Works handguard on it. This is the 5-inch version, and with the hand stop. When you're buying this kind of stuff, you might think, well, gosh, it's $20-30 for a hand stop. But when you think about the grief you're going to have if your hand's up here and you fire this thing, that is a bargain, because you do not want your hand up there. Let's put our magazine back on. There we go. So about a lot better looking pistol than it was before. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'll go ahead and I'll put a US machine gun folding adapter on here. And this pistol grip is this kind of a dark reddish brown, which works okay, but I want it all to be all black. So I'll pick up another pistol grip here, AK grip, a black one. I haven't purchased one yet. And when I do get those pieces, we'll go through the installation to finish the Mini Draco up in part 2 I installed that same piece from US Machine Gun on my Micro Draco, and I liked it so much that I'll get another one for this one, and we'll go through how to install that. I'm assuming it'll be similar to what I went through for the Micro Draco, but there may be something that's a little bit different, but it looks like it's pretty much the same idea there. So that's it for now. We'll wait for me to get those parts, and we'll go ahead and we'll install that. Have a good day.